CDR. Hey, Pat.
Hello, I'm Pat CDR, and you're about to be able to hack Super Mario World over the internet. So just to show there's nothing on my sleeve, this is happening on a real Super Nintendo. This is the SD to SNES, now known as the Pro Pack FX, or FX Pack Pro because the SD Consortium doesn't like them. But we're going to start it up now. The bot should show up in a second in the channel. And it should hand y'all a handy link to explain how to play along at home. But you're going to be able to modify memory addresses and do other interesting things as the game progresses. So first off, though, I must introduce the fact that this is an actual ROM hack of Super Mario World. You can play this one and plenty of other ones on... we can get this one and plenty of other ones on smwcentral.net. But this is Super Mario World from memory. So it might look familiar, it might look a little bit weird. And this tracker to your right should show you what's going on in terms of how people are modifying things on the fly. And if you see a particular effect you like, just copy it. But there are some convenient addresses that are also enumerated and given names, like power-up state or VX or VY, which tend to be very popular, just because, you know, it never hurts to be kicked around a bit left or right or up or down. And there we go, I have a cape now. Not supposed to have a cape here, but I have one anyway. And yes, you can donate to change the sprite. Every $10 will allow you to change the sprite to one of many other Mario and non-Mario characters. Yeah, the music sounds weird because they also made the music from memory. So it'll sound uncanny, I think, is probably the best way to put it. But it's surprising how close they got to the original, despite the fact the assorted hackers were not supposed to, you know, reference the original game. Just what you remember from playing as a kid, or the last time you decided to take a romp right through Dinosaur Land. And the level ends. See? It's not that difficult to get some interesting effects. There we go. Forgot to do that. But yeah, in case you didn't know too much about Mario hacking, there's an awful lot of it going on these days. Let's go here. Everyone likes Pokies.
Yeah, Pat.
Hey, Luigi.
I actually played some of the games. Like they do like hack contests now, right? Like
yeah, they do.
Tons of people submit hacks and popular runners run them.
That is true. In fact, they are finishing up a hack contest right now called Base Level Design Base ROM Level Design Contest. And I'm actually one of the judges for that.
Sweet.
So they should have a bunch of new fun levels out in a zip file on the 12th or 13th or somewhere near there. Just to explain one thing really quick. If you switch between Mario and Luigi, and then you beat a level as the other character, it breaks the world map. So that's why I died, because if you switch to Luigi, you can't continue forward. And that's not fun.
Yeah. Are we going to explain the other thing yet, or are we saving that?
The character swapping?
Yeah.
I think we did. It's $10. There's plenty of interesting characters. We have a more Luigi-looking Luigi. Princess Daisy is in there. Toadette. More than one Yoshi.
And Chaos reigns supreme. If you send $10 and mention one of the sprites, we will change it for you.
Yep.
And we'll be that sprite. There's a very interesting, eclectic, I would almost say, list here.
Well, an awful lot of them just happen to be whatever people make. So in addition to having full ROM hacks, they also have graphics and code you can run. Speaking of not running, oh, hey, water. And so some of those sprites are just straight off of SMW Central. Other ones were made specifically for this. So for instance, Feet and White were made, and Ray Mario were all made by Furalicious. Feet was actually made for the something I exhibited a couple years ago, a Mario RPG Super Mario World crossover multi-world thing, randomizer thing. And while you were behind Booster's curtains, you could only see Mario's feet, right? And so whenever everyone else was playing Super Mario World, when I was in the Booster place doing that, hiding behind the curtains, they could only see their feet too. Because that was just fun. Oh, we're messing with power-up state now. So interesting about power-up state is the only valid ones are 0, 1, 2, and 3. corresponding to small, big, cape, and fire flower, respectively. But when you get to higher ones, weirder things start happening. I'm surprised I'm not dead. So, when you're in a higher power-up state, the most dangerous thing is, in fact, mushrooms. Because if you touch a mushroom, you've got about 50-50 odds for the game to crash.
Oh.
So now we have defeated... Oh, good.
No, I was just going to say, that's amazing.
It's a very well-researched game at this point. People have taken this thing apart, rebuilt parts that they found were slow or inefficient or inadequate. It's kind of amazing, actually.
I actually, I know a little bit about SNES ROM hacking anyway, and I'm usually amazed at how Super Mario World's a pretty solid game.
It really is. It doesn't fall apart easily. And I can attest to that personally.
Yeah, I mean, and some of the things that the ROM hacking community for Super Mario World has done is just amazing. Adding brand new effects to the game. I'm pretty sure there's more than one Celeste that runs like Celeste does.
Yeah, there was I believe it was Celeste.smc, which was done by Markalarm. It was a really popular one, but that boost mechanic is certainly something I've seen in other hacks as well. Most recently, probably in the winter level design contest that they held last year. There was a really lengthy level about escaping jail, and you got to boost around.
That's awesome.
And I lose my horse. Oh. Oh, hey, I'm Mario now. And so you can see I'm elsewhere on the map. So when you beat a level, it notes... Oh, it broke the map. It notes where you are in the world. When you beat a level, it takes where you are in the world, and if you switch players, you're in a different place. And so it tries to apply the map transformation there, and it does not. We have learned this the hard way repeatedly. So now I can't go and get the Green Switch Palace, unless someone pushes me past it, which happens sometimes. And instead we have to go around this way. Look at all that cut off. Yeah, I was thinking actually I might just do the character thing just as a freebie, just to show people how it works and what it looks like. Think that's reasonable?
Hold that thought for a second.
All right.
I'm sitting here. I have a sprite I want to demo for.
All right.
So,
that works. I'm gonna... Ah, nuts. Well, oh.
Because there's got to be a story. So.
Yeah, there has to be a story.
Yeah.
That was an unfortunate time for that pause. I thought I was safe. I really thought I was safe. And then, no, just fall off right into the baseball. So might have been able to save that.
I missed it a little bit. Is it your ROM hack?
No, this is one that is a compilation. So all sorts of people were involved in making it. I don't have the full list of names in front of me, sadly, but a lot of people. So basically I had like a spreadsheet sign up where you would say, I want to do this level. And then they went and did it, and then eventually compiled the end result into this singular ROM hack. It happens sometimes, but compilation hacks are hard to make, especially when you start doing like the fancy stuff by adding custom ASM or assembly codes. Trying to get all of the stuff to merge together. Another common problem is the tiles. There's a way of referring to certain tiles, and if people mess with the same tile pages, so it could be hard to merge them all together.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense. Because, yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. Memory locations, especially if you want to be able to do hardware, are pretty tight.
Oh, they are. The Super Nintendo makes it a lot easier just because you've got that whole 24-bit address space. I mean, you only get half of it still for... Well, you don't get half of it, but you get a lot of it for ROM space compared to, say, the Nintendo, which only has a 16-bit address space, and you can only use 8K of it at a time. Well, you can swap page sizes and things, but you don't do any bank swapping here, at least, if you don't want to.
Yeah. So amazingly, there's a $10 donation from Sofnum that says Diag.
That didn't work for some reason, and I don't know why.
Yeah, you're fine. We'll look at it here in a second.
I mean, easiest thing to do is... Did that work? That worked. I think I must have not configured it correctly. Oh, I didn't set mods to true on that. No, I didn't. That was stupid. Basically, for my bot, which handles all this stuff, I have it's all written in Python. I have Python decorators to decide who can do what. And for that one, I did not set it so that mods could do it, so it was only me that could do it, which is not ideal. Fix that next time I reboot it.
No worries.
It'll work.
So we do have a $130 donation from
wow.
Creed, which is amazing. And they say, just want to do my small part and help with the cause as always, because I can. 50 is going towards getting caught by Bowser in Super Mario Armageddon, which is coming up next. $8 will go to the one-shot Kulex spot fight for the SMRPG solo later on in the marathon. Have fun and good luck with the event. Thank you very much, LV Creed. That is extremely generous, and we are well on our way to our next $1,000.
That's fantastic. And Armageddon is a really cool ROM hack.
Yeah, LV Creed was commentating the Mega Man right before this, which, if you didn't see it, was pretty incredible.
I caught the beginning. The airman or the fans were pretty dang funny. It's a terrible spot to have those. If you look in the documentation, just for Doomsday's benefit, it actually has those listed and given names like timer hundreds, timer tens, timer ones. And you can use those directly. It's kind of convenient. Somewhat convenient, at least. When I do this outside of marathons, I actually give people a little more latitude. They can write assembly modules and load them into the game at runtime.
Oh,
which
wow.
crashes less than you would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting effects, like messing around with the HDMA registers to create cutouts. There's a fun one, which is just like a Yoshi egg over the whole screen as a cutout. And people found the message box dispatch.
Oh, turn it on.
Well, no, okay. So when they hit the message, when you write that value, it tries to read out some message from the game. And if there's no message box in that level, there's no message. Just Lunar Magic knows better. Lunar Magic is the ROM editor for this game. And Fusuya, I just keep dying. And Fusuya rewrote how the message box dispatch stuff works, so you can have an awful lot more. In the original game, it actually searches a list to see if you're in a list of levels that have message boxes, which is not great. But in the modified version that we're playing, it can tell and looks and sees, oh yeah, there's just a 0 there, I'm just going to display an empty message box. Which is convenient. It doesn't crash. It doesn't do anything bad. Just
doesn't crash the game. That's great.
Yeah.
So
it's a small favor.
So now that I've donated for this magic, are you gonna explain what's going on with the sprite?
I'll try. Diagonal Mario is a sprite from a game called Diagonal Mario 2: The Ultimate Meme Machine, which is a bit of a dose of like 2016 memery. It's got a lot of weird stuff going on, and the sprite is only really the start of it. It's really fun. It's sadly not hosted on SMW Central because it intentionally crashes the game. There's a level where there's bob-ombs, and if any of them explode, the game crashes. And I've heard, though not seen, it has the potential to take your save game with it. So it tends to be a thing you want to be a bit careful about. Mm-hmm. But it's just a weird sprite from a weird hack. It even has like some overworld nonsense going on, so when you move between one level and the next, it actually takes like a minute. You literally like do a lap. And it goes through like, I want to say, you know, was it Keck W emote? One of the world maps is just that. If you have not played this, you should play it. It's really fun. The final boss is kind of unforgiving, to put it mildly. But other than that, It's actually a lot of fun. Still finding the box. It's a fun box, I'm not gonna lie. Something I had to turn off manually. I guess not manually. I did this a while ago. Was alerts for various reasons. Long before Twitch made it a lot better, I used to actually miss alerts a lot, and I don't really like using other code for that sort of thing. And so I actually just rigged it up to be in the game, so my alerts would all pop up in message boxes.
That's really neat. That's a really neat idea.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
I have to talk to you after this to figure out how you're running this through Python instead of Lua, but we can go over that later.
Sure, that's something. Oh God, Mosaic.
Oh,
I can actually explain a bit of that nonsense. So the SD to SNES, aka FX Pack Pro, has a USB port on it, and that USB port speaks serial. That's what the S in USB stands for, after all. And so there's a protocol that you use just straight up over by sending it bytes to tell it what to do. And those things can be things like, I would like to read this memory. I would like to write this memory. I'd like to start this game. I want to mess with the file system. Things like that. And so that's how that works. And I've written all my own libraries for this. There's some C# ones that the... what's that called again? The version of this that's monetized and less likely to crash. Crowd control.
Crowd control, right.
Yes, crowd control also can do things over USB like this, and it uses the C# libraries for that. That were written by, don't remember, it's been so long. I think it's Red Guy, but I might be wrong on that. Worst part about Mosaic, once it does this, it's rare that it gets fixed. So another good reason for a photosensitivity alert is this doesn't go away. It's a feature that the SNES has, which is kind of nice, where it sort of allows you to scale tiles in a really weird way. This isn't mode 7, but it basically takes part of the upper left corner of every tile and makes it a lot bigger. And they use it for this sort of thing.
I can see how system designers could think that was a useful thing.
I mean, it's definitely had its place in other games, in like Final Fantasy 3 and 6. It's used to as a transition between battles. Here, it's used as a way to transition to the world map. Like, it's a useful feature.
Oh, sure.
The SNES has a lot of useful features.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with it.
And unlike Mode 7, it doesn't require... you can still do it with multiple layers and everything. And you can still have your tiles formatted the way you'd like to have them formatted for the rest of the game, instead of Mode 7 way. Which turns out to be very handy.
The only thing I've really done hacking on is FFR Rando.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So... no Mode 7 in that game.
I was actually discussing that on stream a while ago. I was trying to come up with a game that doesn't have Mode 7. Because it seems like every game at least has a little bit somewhere.
Yeah.
And it would not...
Final Fantasy 3-6, whatever you want to call it, the opening credits are in Mode 7.
I was thinking the airship parts.
Oh, yeah, that is too, actually.
And I was thinking like Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger doesn't have any. And then, no, it does. The pendulum at the beginning is Mode 7.
Oh, is it?
It sure looks like it. If it's not, I would be very surprised. And then like Donkey Kong Country, they use it to scale the logo. Like it seems like it was actually a requirement to have it everywhere, or have it somewhere in your game.
I mean, that makes sense.
It does. You want to kind of like show off the best of the system. But I do kind of wonder if it was actually in like the submission requirements or something.
Well, the motion controls for Wii were for a little while.
That's true. You had to have motion controls.
I mean, I think they pulled the requirement back eventually, but you did for a while.
Didn't always help things, but it made sense with their ethos.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually surprised.
found the
Okay.
way to get rid of the mosaic.
Someone did. There's some very knowledgeable hackers out there. I don't know how many of them. I can see a few names I recognize in chat, and I have an actual filtered version of this so that I can actually read it. And here we are with the mosaic again. Why not? That was not the best way to do that. So it wouldn't surprise me if one of them just turned off mosaic, because there is a way to do it, but it's not as simple as writing to the register.
Okay.
Well, the mirror of the register.
Right.
And we're back to it. It's fine. I don't think there's any other like simple effects. Like I'm still surprised no one's messed with the velocity yet, because that one tends to be a lot of fun.
I tried to get the foreground to move, but it didn't seem to. It must.
Some of those don't work the way you would expect them to.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Speaking of not expecting to, I wonder if we'll get to go anywhere. Oh, never mind. Maybe not. Someone's pausing the game, I think. And I can't unpause it during this phase because I think it actually removes all
There we go.
control. Nope. It's paused again.
I think somebody broke the timer.
Let's just set it. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Kappa. Knowledgeable people. There we go. So I'm actually kind of surprised. I usually don't get this far without lots of awful things happening. But see, I do this every once in a while.
I think this is an amazing idea.
I just love the amount of latitude it gives people. Like, you really can do almost anything you can imagine in program. I mean, you can't do everything. Like, clearly you can't put Mario 64 in here. But you can get a lot done with a surprisingly small amount of assembly in terms of just creating a cool effect or being really annoying. Like some of those, the ASM system I call Project Carl because I couldn't come up with a better name. But some of the Carl modules do things like mess with movement physics. So I'm constantly leaping, or my velocity is always mirrored. So you can't slow down by holding the opposite direction. You can only slow down by friction. Or one that was really fun recently was RPG movement. So I could only move in a block a line 16 by 16.
Say, like discrete 16 pixel movements.
Yep. And I kind of was flying around the world doing that, which was kind of fun. Good thing I know what this map looks like, otherwise it'd be really hard. And I beat the final boss of Casio using that, or Casio Mario World using that. Here we are in Extreme Mosaic, because you want your games to look just like the Atari 2600. The worst part about Extreme Mosaic is it becomes really hard to know exactly where platforms are. But the upside is you get to learn what all things in this game are actually background via versus sprites. And so just to prevent Squiggles from being confused, Project Carl is off for the time being, and it... Oh, there's no key. Oh, no, I can't go this way. So yeah, if you use a key in a level that doesn't have a keyhole, it'll activate the exit number +1, which is often used in Super Mario World. So it actually activated the next exit over. And I can't go that way.
Oh.
Once an exit's burned, you can't do anything. You're dead. So it occurs to me that while I mentioned that, Squiggles loaded his favorite of the modules, Coin Poser. So you might notice that Mario is stuck dabbing as he, or Luigi is stuck dabbing as he goes wherever he's going. And the dabbing will continue until I get another coin. Mods can still load things. I kind of figured none of them would show up, so that made things easy. I could convince someone to turn on water, so I don't have to go find the Red Switch Palace, so I can get up there. That'd greatly appreciate it. Sometimes that works. Not a lot of the time it doesn't, but sometimes. Oh yeah, Crispy and Lie Down are also pretty good. If you remember how Mario gets blown up by his own explosive in one of the castle levels. There we go. It just loads that sprite continuously. And Lie Down just makes it so Mario is constantly, like, reclining his way through the game. It's really fantastic. Vanilla Seek. Oh, wait. Since we have 2 players, and I can't go the other way. Usually when I get stuck with 2-player mode, I like to try and go both ways in case someone breaks something. But I can't do that right now, because it's already broken. I do appreciate the star, though. Another downside with the poser modules is you often don't know what power-up state you're in, aside from Cape.
Yeah, I can see that.
But for standard Mario, it's not too difficult to make good guesses. Most of the time.
Most.
For Kaizo Mario, it can often be a lot more important to know what your current power-up state is. I guess there it's actually pretty easy to make good guesses because you only get power-ups to lose them shortly thereafter.
Right. Probably not. The end. Of course.
So here's another interesting tidbit. Vanilla Secret 2 here is an interesting level because there's a way to sort of leave levels in a way that's not expected. There's a counter in the game that counts the number of times you've been through a door in a level. Not any specific door, but just any door. And, that was weird. And if that overflows, goes past FF, it takes you here. I don't know why, but it always takes you here. And so I've seen a lot of this level. Because sometimes people just want to teleport you around. This level's a frequent one. The other one that I've spent the most time in when people teleport me there is, of course, Morton's Castle. Because people really love Morton's Castle. That didn't work. I think it's the vertical section. Honestly, the vertical section is really cool, and you can do some really fun stuff with messing with the scroll there. This is level 01. That does make a lot of sense. I've never actually looked into why it does that. I'm surprised it takes you to level 01 rather than level 0. Oh, bonus game! So another small difference between this and the original version is that the floor is a little bit higher than it should be, and these mushroom sprites are funny now. They're not normal mushroom sprites. You can't interact with them like Yoshi's tongue, or you can't fling them with the cape. They just kind of hang out down there. Yeah, 0 and 100 are both bonus games. Bonus games are so much fun.
I will cut in here and remind everybody that we are raising money for the Burned Children's Fund of South Carolina. Their mission is to ease the recovery process for children in Medical University of South Carolina's pediatric burn ward and their families through supplies, training, and training for the highest quality burn care, direct family support, and education. And remember, if you donate $10, we will change the sprite to whatever is on to any of the sprites that are available, and there is a link I am pulling up right now to list them out. You can donate to make it whatever sprite you desire.
There are some good ones. I also have no idea what just happened with the scroll a minute ago. Because it scrolled me way out.
Yeah,
fun fact.
It looks like we decided to scroll the screen about a million.
It was scrolling, and I was like auto-scrolling to the left, and I could not move to the right. There was nothing happening there.
Nice.
There's something like, what's my favorite sprite in there, in the set? Tails is a favorite. I think if I were to go and like look up which one was been used the most, Tails is probably the most. It's a really well done sprite, especially given that like the sort of dimensions of SNES sprites and Genesis sprites are a little bit different. And the fact that, he can't have his tails behind him because that would require extra animation stuff that isn't necessarily in the game without doing some extra coding work. Though there is a patch to make the character sprite 32 by 32 if people want, say, chunkier sprites. And the reason I use that word specifically is because there's a particular ROM hack that has a very thick peach in it. And there goes the level again. And it uses that patch. Boone is also a consummate favorite of ROM hackers everywhere. Sort of a weird Japanese mascot for something. Did I just switch to Mario? I don't want to beat... okay.
Oh, all right. So we do have $10 from Lord Fizzlebeef, who says, the Mona sprite seems fun, so let's do that.
Okay. I did not get around to rebooting the thing, so I'll just have to fix that in a second.
Fine.
But without water in this level, it'll be a lot easier. There we go. Mona's fun. Speaking of Japanese mascots for things. There we go. And I've lost collision with the level. Which is kind of a problem when you want to go through a door. There's no real way to go through a door unless you're standing on the ground. This isn't Mario Maker. Well, that solved one problem. Yay, kitty, indeed. What was it? Like, Link to the Past also has a lot of good character sprites in its randomizer. I don't know if you've ever checked that out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's actually there's a fair number in the Final Fantasy randomizer community too.
Really?
Yeah. There's a fair number of them that float around it. They're not really in the rando, but you can apply a ROM set after. Fine. So.
Oh, okay, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually pretty easy because at least on NES you're just swapping out like CHR pages and a few different some palette entries somewhere. On the SNES, it can be a little more involved, but like the way Link to the Past one works is pretty simple. In fact, I subverted that a while ago when I played Link to the Past so people could change the sprite on the fly there too, which was a lot of fun. I think the mouse cursor is still my favorite of all of them, though. The floor is my favorite of all of them. I've changed my mind. Funny enough, I actually do use that particular write address when I'm moderating stuff. If I get stuck in a soft lock, it's a lot nicer just to be able to fall out of the world than it is to have to wait the appropriate amount of time. It's also kind of fun because I can see when people are trying to do things but don't have the commands quite right. Thankfully, there is, in fact, no kill player one that's available to anybody. Well, I guess there is one. People have been using it on me. I don't know where it comes from, though. Interesting. We don't have collision with the back. We don't have collision with anything. Those are sprites. That's why. The mushroom platforms are sprites.
Oh.
I had to stop and think about that one for a minute. There's some really cool levels that actually exploit this property, or something like it, where you're not supposed to, like, everything that was yellow is an illusion. That was the gimmick of that level. It was a really strange one. And its definition of yellow left something to be desired, and did it crash? That looks like it crashed. Let's fix that. That reminds me, how much time do we have? We'll put Mona back while we're doing that.
Find that out here. We're about halfway through, it looks like.
Okay.
I just figure 20 minutes. 20 minutes until Necrowind is up.
I think at about 10 we'll switch to the other save file, which is thankfully still there somehow, and go beat Bowser. Because as much fun as the beginning of the world is, Bowser is a lot of fun.
I'll try and give you a 10-minute warning then.
Perfect. Yeah, it's not uncommon that this deletes my save files, because when the SNES crashes, it kind of thrashes about and writes to random places. And, you know, SRAM is one of those places. And if a single byte gets out of array, there's a system to make sure that the save games are actually proper and not broken. At least the way it works for Super Mario World is it writes it twice in 2 different locations.
Yep.
And checks to see if they're the same. And I think that was a very common thing for Nintendo to do, though it's kind of expensive on SRAM.
Yeah. Final Fantasy IV does the same thing. It writes it twice, then loads whichever one is coherent. Actually. It
Oh,
doesn't
really?
check.
It doesn't check?
It doesn't really check. If I remember right.
I think it's
It
not kind of
just-
odd to have a checksum and do it twice. Oh, there's something in the box. Should I let it out of the box? Gonna let it out of the box. See? I didn't get it, dang it. Yeah, gold tapes are pretty fickle. They don't work unless they're properly aligned, bizarre as it sounds. There's another very common assembly that gets run that turns all sprites into boos when I turn around. And if it moves the gold tape, I can no longer complete the level. So I have to be very careful about turning around when that's on. You know, in addition to everything in the world becoming boos. Has some interesting effects on things that already have momentum. So like disco shells would be really fast if they turn into boos and start flying around the screen. Fireballs are also a lot of fun because they start flying upward off the screen rapidly. It's really strange.
Well, in this level, the mushroom tops boost.
The mushroom what?
The mushroom wouldn't the platforms become boost because they're sprites?
They would, yes. They totally would.
Find yourself standing on a boot.
Not for very long. They
Right.
don't have a lot of coherence. And yeah, this works. That worked. Oh, I'm surprised. I really thought I'd end up at level 0. The world map is also really fickle. Of all the things that tend to break, that one's pretty high up there. Just edges you can't use, can't come back to them. At no point in time did I intend to do any of that, but that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you're making it. It's working.
Yeah, it's a... Oh, no. I do feel like it's shunted up this path more often than not. I don't actually get to do the lower bridge. And the game is paused. Somehow. Alright. Take a short break. Oh, there it goes. And other reasons. Yeah, the game doesn't like...
Wait, can you not just unpause it, or are you just...
No, I was trying to unpause it. It just was not happening. Also, the start button on this is getting kind of old.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm pressing it and trying. I could be a lot louder about pressing it, but I don't think anybody really needs that.
I was just like, I assumed it activated the pause routine when it did that, and so...
I think there's 2 different kinds of is paused. There's the pause routine one, and then there's like when something in the game wants to pause you, so like when you get hit, right? You pause briefly and can't move.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of is paused we're talking about when they use that. Weird. But yes. Ooh, okay. Someone found the generators. So, the way it works in Mario in this game, when you have want to have things spawn like that, is you get a generator sprite, which turns on the generator with a specific kind of thing you want to generate. So, like the fish fountain, random bullet bills. We have to try. And random Eries. There's a couple other ones I'm forgetting. Bubbles is one of them. Bombs from the sky. But it's non-contiguous, bizarrely enough. And so there's a hole in there. And if you choose the wrong type of generator, it just crashes the game straight up. Like, there's just a hole in the table where something should be. It's probably a missing feature that they just didn't finish implementing and didn't feel like renaming everything in the process. Happens a lot with games.
Yeah. So
and off it goes.
Yeah, I know one particular game that had a name right before release, and then it had to change the name because somebody copyrighted it like out from under them, basically. Not
Seriously?
on purpose. It was just like a different name, a different game or whatever.
What was it?
It was an old like the company that made No One Lives Forever, the game. Old.
Yeah, I don't think I heard of that one. I'm also in a permanent loop now. I really wanted to go to the Donut Ghost House, but I was a little indecisive about it forever. I think it didn't like the scroll. Let's see what happens when we reset it. Another thing, I guess you can't see it, is that I actually reset it just using a command from chat because it's more convenient than reaching over and resetting on the Super Nintendo. But that's in my checks. This thing's multi-homing. This might be a problem. No, I did the same thing, didn't I? Okay, fine. I'll go to the Donut Ghost House. What's the worst that could happen? That's about what I expected. So when you enter a bonus game off the world map, it doesn't matter if you get the one-ups or not. You're stuck forever. Which is kind of weird, especially given the music is a little strange. So I'll just fall out of the world. But yeah, that's stuck.
Oh, do you want to go beat Bowser?
I was going to say, I think it's about Bowser time anyway. Oh, hey, we can see the world again. And we can see why this doesn't work. But at least we can see it now. Now let's go beat Bowser. That's never going to finish.
Oh, nice.
But at least we could see where we weren't going. And that makes an awful lot of difference. So we have the back door on this save file here because that's what happened last time I played this game during chat hacks. I always prefer the side entrance because the castle is really long. With all of the doors, and you don't get the midway that's convenient here. And once you see what people can do here, you'll understand why I really want that midway. Also, this part, not doing it with muscle memory, is so weird, because it's slightly wrong. Oh, hey, a cape. That makes things... Hey, yes, and a star. Yeah, we'll take this easy. Okay, people can also be incredibly kind and make it a lot easier to beat Bowser. That also happens. I guess I should be nice about this. But frequently, I get like shoved out of the level with side exits and stuff. So you know how Yoshi's house has a side exit. You just walk out and you go back to the world map. That can happen here. You just walk out and you go back to the world map.
Nice.
So I think I've timed out that specific address until the end of time. So, or I can just fall from the floor. It all works. It might be useful to have more lives. Oh, that's the other thing side exits do, is they take away your midway. We're shaking. We're done shaking.
Guess we need to go back.
Well, that didn't work. I don't know what they did, but it does not appear to be happy now. Peach's right arm is kind of out there. Bowser can work sometimes. I don't know what they did though. This one I think is actually new to me. I think I'm gonna fall through the floor now. We'll try again. It's only so much floor to go around. Plenty of door, though. Really curious what that right was. Because I don't actually see what's going on while everyone's doing this. I usually don't have a clue why certain things happen. Sometimes I have to puzzle it out myself after the fact. Especially when we're talking like weird extra like Carl modules where an entire module could do something really interesting and I have no idea when or why. But this looks more normal. I think I'm in a really high power-up state is what's going on and why my cat is somewhat bisected. There's another spot where it pauses. Change the music. You have to kind of let the whole CPU work on that one.
Yeah.
Or we'll just win. Are we satisfied with just winning? I am not satisfied with just winning. That doesn't work. I want at least one good shot at that.
I
So,
wanted to see what reserve item N or A is.
oh, it's the wrong one. There we go. There's an awful lot of weirdness that can happen with reserve items. One of my, I think, people's favorite in general is the firework. The firework does really weird things and causes sprites to despawn, to like disappear, and the game to slow down immensely because this is not the most optimized of the Super Nintendo games. Being, you know, the first one as far as I know. Okay.
Certainly early in the line.
Very early in line.
If not the first.
If not the first. Yep. I'd like to scroll now. You know, this actually wouldn't be a bad spot for like a boss fight. You could put Boom Boom in here and it'd actually be kind of fun. But as far as beating Bowser, this isn't going to work. Thank you. Let's see if the level geometry is caught up to where my feet are. Oh, that's, I know what that is. That's one of those boxes from the bonus game. They just kind of drift across the screen repeatedly when they don't know what to do. They do that a lot. If they ever get misaligned, they go all sorts of interesting places. That entire sprite is just weird. Like an awful lot of sprites in this game. What is this? It's gone. It was probably a, let me think. I think there's always a mushroom. Oh, that was close. There's always a mushroom in those flying boxes. I think if you want to have a non-mushroom thing in there, you have to insert a custom sprite. And there are tools for that on SMW Central. There's an awful lot of custom sprites. Obvious ones ported from other games. Ones you may never have known you wanted. Like a combination Chuck and Thwomp. Because why not? And Bowser. Bowser is Mode 7. He's quite literally just a single layer going back and forth across the screen. Yeah, I think the P-Switch timer ate the floor. I think these might... Well, yeah, I guess it worked. It was, yes. But with the Midway, I don't even care. It's a beautiful thing, the Midway. I'm going to be honest, I'm just jumping and ducking because I really like the cat in the box bit. And there's nothing else to do while Bowser spawns. It's one of the longest starts to this thing. There's a ROM hack called Backwards Mario World, where you start at Bowser and kind of go from there. That, I don't think people speedrun a whole lot because no one wants to beat Bowser up front. Because like a 3-minute time sink. But it's a really cool hack. No, nothing's off yet. Interesting fact, some of these bricks here are actually sprites. Because in Mode 7, you don't have access to more layers. At least as many layers as you might want. Well, whatever that is, it's gone now. And Peach, that bowling ball has turned into some sort of Peach thing. How do you defeat Bowser if you're underwater? You don't do that, for one. This actually came up in a hack once. Stick mice in my head and get them back out with a hammer, I believe is the full title. And you have to beat Bowser while having a frog suit. Yeah, it's about as much fun as it sounds like. Speaking of Bowser fights. Oh, there's the Mecha Koopas. I didn't even see them. Wait, what? Sometimes weird things mess with Bowser's state. Like, there's an awful lot of reuse of addresses. Because, well, you know, when you're fighting Bowser, there's not going to be anything that's not normally in the Bowser fight. So the fact that we have, like, this... I think it might be a Goomba or a Koopa or something. It might be a third one of those, which means I need to get back down to the floor. Come on. Well, that worked. Could not thread the needle, but that worked. Alright, that's 2 hits. And some very unhappy somethings in this corner. Let's just kill those. That was a Wiggler. The more you know. It was hard to guess that it was a Wiggler, but the death made it quite clear. So remember what I said about mushrooms being the biggest enemy near the beginning of we started playing this?
Yeah.
That's what happens if you get a mushroom when you're in a high power-up state. There's an important table somewhere that just doesn't update right. And okay, I didn't do that too early. All right, hopefully got time for one more shot, otherwise we'll just bounce. Looks like the end of days. That's what happens also if you pop up a message box in that level. I do have a workaround just in case, though. Just to say, if Squiggles is still around, I might have a workaround just in case.
Yep. So while we're getting back there, we do have $1 from Will319 that says, Good luck, future Necro. Don't miss any orbs, bud. This is for the incentive to Armageddon's file name being Pop Goes. Thank you.
Presume that means missing no fire orbs? Can you miss those in Armageddon? I haven't actually watched or played enough of it to know all that much.
I don't. I actually don't think I've seen Armageddon.
It is really interesting. It's a very hard version of Super Mario World where many things are like have multiple timed hits. It's coming up next.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm excited.
It has a lot of Rosalina. If you like Rosalina, you'll probably like this. I can't believe that hit. We'll just kind of squish ourselves down here until we're ready to go somewhere else. Let's see. Step over here. Oh, good. Cape. And I am just going to avoid that mushroom. I don't care. Yeah, the problem with water Bowser fights is they basically just turn into waiting around. There's no reason to, like, ever go down. There's current. I just realized. Oh, this is why I have to go down, because with that generator on, I might not get Mecha Koopas if too many of those spawn. Well, let's find out in a second when Bowser does whatever he's about to do. Nope. There's way too many sprites for him to want to do it. Yep. Okay, well, how am I going to deal with this? First, I have to get down. The problem is these are Goombas. And we kicked out of the level. And the, you know, Bowser's Valley looks a lot nicer like this, doesn't it? All green and verdant. And there goes my midway, because we technically beat the level. Another fun fact, if you beat Bowser, it doesn't actually count unless you beat Bowser. You have to destroy that, you have to actually win through that mechanism. If you win through another mechanism, it doesn't usually... me phrase this. You have to beat the boss. Well, no, actually, that's not true either. You have to either beat Bowser or the Big Boo in that level for the credits to roll. One or the other. You can't just beat like Wendy or one of the other bosses. It actually comes up in Diagonal Mario because there are some fake out bosses that you can beat and not actually win the game with. It just puts you back on the world map and makes you feel like a chump.
Nice.
It is a troll hack after all. It should do those kinds of things.
Yeah. You knew what you were getting into when you pushed the power button.
Exactly. It said it's the ultimate meme machine. You should be fully prepared. Right. Alright, this is different. We're climbing. One of those nuts. One of the things this is training me. Oh no. Oh, I still got that? Huh. Surprised that sprite didn't spawn. Those are Bob-Ombs. This is different. But I can't see them. And they home in on my face. And there's a gold tape. I don't think the gold tape's going to help. Yeah, there was a bomb there. You can't see a whole lot in this fight. A lot of things happen. And they're quite invisible. Alright, Bowser. Hopefully Mona will be able to defeat you. Get Princess back. Pick all the Yoshis out for ice cream. All the good things that happen at the end of the game. I am really afraid of what that is, actually. It looks like it's using some of Bowser's tiles. Like, it's really weirdly animated. Because if I squint kind of weirdly, it looks like two Yoshi heads stacked on each other. It's a really weird looking thing.
Animations.
There we go, that's more normal. The bottom half of a Mecha Koopa.
It must have been pointing to, like, some really, really volatile.
You know, it might have been Bowser's propeller, if I had to make a guess now that I think about it. Mode 7 graphics are stored in a different format. So they're more, I mean, I don't know how familiar people are, but it's more like a normal bitmap. It starts at the top left and goes to the bottom right in stripes. Whereas the NES, the SNES and the NES both use bitplane formats for all of the other graphics. And so if that was a Mode 7 tile that was animating, which the propeller would count there, it would explain why it was showing up in weird lines that didn't make a lot of sense. So, but that's just my guess. There's a lot of things that are just weird in this game. Happy cat, though. And a disembodied arm. Another fun trivia fact, Bowser doesn't have collision unless he's facing upward. There have been several times people have decided, you know what would be the most fun thing for Bowser to do? Rotate. Rotate in place. And the game actually checks for this, bizarrely enough. And if Bowser is in the process of rotating, he does not take damage or damage me. And I'm going to stop before anything breaks. There we go. The chat hacking is over. We have completed. Mona, the princess, Mario's face, because that's a separate sprite. We're all going to go on a vacation. Thank you for the GGs. There's one last thing, if we can let the credits roll for a bit. I don't know how pressed we are for time.
Nobody appears to be yelling at them. Good.
All right. But yeah, thank you for letting me show you all this. It's a fun little thing. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes it's actually productive. But usually it's just 2 hours of Bowser fights. Because people love Bowser fights.
Bowser's the least favorite part of it.
It kind of is. It's just a really long fight. Like, it has so lengthy transitions while he swoops in and out. It was really cool when I was a kid. But having done it, 100 some odd times now, I'm just not as impressed.
I mean, I've
Well,
never tried to do it when people were making it a water level, but
yeah, that one is doable. It was doable until people started busting out the generator sprites, because I needed to clear out the sprite table so the Mecha Koopas would spawn. But that just wasn't happening. No, y'all aren't. I turned off the writing stuff. You guys are no longer affecting the game. That's what the stop command does. I guess you guys didn't see that, but I think it said stopped chat hacks in the other chat as well. So, but thank you for trying. It's very common. There was actually once when I beat Bowser, it got all the way to here, and then the game, I had actually already stopped the module, but someone had snuck in some code to run after the fact, and then the game put me back to the back door. It was painful.
that's awesome.
I have some good troll friends. So, there we go. They're all happily at their bannered tree house. It's a pretty nice tree house when you think about it. It's got 3 whole branches, like trunks on it. Kind of hard to grow a tree like that. On purpose, I guess.
It's a little bit of an odd shape.
It is.
I guess it could be an illustration of several trees sharing some foliage,
It could be.
but
But if you check the credits now, you might notice that a few things are named a little bit differently. For instance, Lord Spizzlebeef Stream Elements, the flying critter. And of course, we have Speedy Catbot and Fries, and other such peoples. And so these are an awful lot of the people, not all of the people, who were involved in making this work, in hacking the game. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of spaces for really long names, but there's a lot in here. Hinazo. It's so close to Kaizoen. You made this? Where's your name? It's probably coming up near the end. I'm kind of surprised. There's an awful lot of slots in here. Dino. Yeah, I think Dino Torches fits you, Kappa. Here's Doomsday, Circle Friendo, and Giga Otomia. The fishing. Going fishing. It's good to be immune to fire. It's a great way to go. I'm just a thwomp. Just a thwomp. Got Squiggles in there, and Will. Kirby's. And Reznor. Fishing Boo fits well. Being a thwomp. It's nice. You could do a lot worse than being a Fishing Boo. Or a thwomp. I suspect, and this is my guess, that there's at least a few names on this slide. No, I must have gotten stuck somewhere. No, there you go. The end. Yeah, too bad no one was Reznor. With how Fish and Boo are using Kaizo. Yeah, I think that's become a bit passé now, aside from the occasional, like Fish and Boo surfing section. Having 15 of them on the screen is no longer necessary. Just because the SA1 conversion lets you do that doesn't mean you should.
sometimes it's not about what can you do, but what should you do.
Exactly. It's the difference between
this
intelligence and wisdom. Knowing what you can do and knowing that you shouldn't.
Yeah, this was really great. Thanks for showing it off. It's extremely different thing that I have never seen before. So that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's always great to show it off. It's weird. It's very programmery. I keep thinking maybe one day I should take everything at hexadecimal, but I don't think I ever will. So, but yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, I am, while we get set up for our next run, going to remind